All right, let's shift gears now. I want to talk about the Cowboys. Very much an up and down season for them, 3-3. Currently, they're kind of on the down right now after that 47-9 embarrassment at the hands of the Lions. And to kind of make matters worse, it was at home. It was on Jerry Jones's 82nd birthday, as it's been well documented. You know, they did nothing in the offseason to improve this team. You know, after Jerry Jones made the comment that they were going to be all in to try to improve this team, I just feel like, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, especially Cowboys fans, may agree. I know he owns the team. He's obviously not selling the team, right? We know that. But at what point does he relinquish some of the power and the control that he has over the decisions that are made with personnel? I mean, I think it's time. Would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, we can debate that all day, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, he's the owner GM, and he's not going to fire himself as GM, and that's the way it is. And I do think you have to separate the two responsibilities. As an owner, as a businessman, he has been great. When he bought the Cowboys, as he likes to point out, they were losing $1 million a month. He's turned that completely around. He's kept them as America's team, which Tex Schramm and Tom Landry and Gil Brandt established them as in the 1970s. And he's only grown that product of America's team. But since Jimmy Johnson left, and they left before the 1994 season, and they won the 1995 championship, we all know how it's worked out from 96 to now. There have been no NFC championship games. There have been no Super Bowls. There have been no Lombardi trophies added to the trophy case. And Jerry's a big reason why that has been that way, because he hasn't done what he's needed to do as general manager a lot of the time. Not all of the time. They've had some teams that, you know, had the best record in the NFC and had an opportunity to have home field throughout and get to the championship game and get to the Super Bowl, and they didn't get it done. And that wasn't necessarily his fault. He did put those teams together. But a lot of what we're seeing now is a product of Jerry not doing what he needed to do as GM. There's no question about that. But he's going to be GM. As long as he is the owner of the team, he is going to be the GM of the team, and that's the way it is, like it or not, Cowboys fans. And we all know they don't like it. And I understand why they don't like it, but that's the way it is. And, yeah, he set himself up by using the all-in during the offseason and then not going all in, as we all have the definition of all in. That wasn't what the Cowboys did, and they haven't done, and they're not going to add to the team before the trade deadline. And so they are where they are. And I don't see this team winning the division. I don't see them making the postseason. I see this as maybe an 8-win team, maybe a 9-win team. Maybe they sneak into the postseason as the last wild card team. I don't think they will, but maybe they do. When they get some of those defensive players back that they're missing now. But they just don't at all look like a championship team, and that's what they've lacked since 1996. It's the last Super Bowl in 95, and you come back the 96 season, and ever since then, they haven't gotten it done.
Yeah. And you know, and to some of your points that you made there, you know, he has come out and said that, you know, the fans are fair to blame me for some of the shortcomings with the roster and some of the issues that you're seeing on the field. He accepts that blame, but how much longer will he tolerate the embarrassing losses? I mean, at some point, do you think it's possible he will make one of the coaches the scapegoat, whether that's the head coach, who we know was on the hot seat entering the season, or is it a coordinator? Will that happen at some point this season?
You know, if it was going to happen, you would think it would have happened this week because of the embarrassment of the Lions game, the score at home, the way they played, the give up factor at the end of that game. And then now they're on their off week. So if they were going to do it, I would have thought that it would have come this week. I think he probably lets McCarthy play out the season. But if they have many more of these embarrassing losses, and it's possible based on their schedule, but if they do, particularly at home, then I think there's a chance that John Fossil, the special teams coach, takes over as head coach, interim head coach for the rest of the season, and they move on. I don't think there's any doubt right now. I don't think anybody doubts this, that they're going to have a whole new coaching staff after this season. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to have a whole new coaching staff unless something turns around dramatically in the next few weeks. I think that's pretty much a given. And I think Mike McCarthy and that staff probably know that as well. I mean, this was set up to happen by Jerry Jones by not extending any of those contracts. Every coach on that staff is on a 1-year deal. All their contracts expire after this season, so Jerry can walk away without paying him any more money, and I think that's what he wants to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a bit of a circus right now in Dallas. And of course, this week we had the incident where he went on the flagship radio station and, was a little bit irritated with some of the questions that were asked of him. And so, again, I think it just kind of adds to the circus that has become the Cowboys at times. But Charean Williams, we appreciate your time and all of your insight on the Texans and the Cowboys. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Evan, thanks for having me.